So I have a new Gundam figure from Bandai Namco and their metal build line. This is Gundam Barbatos 4th Form plus Boomerang Mace. And it's funny, I was actually in Japan in June with my family. And at the mall in Kyoto, they had a Gundam store. So the entire store was devoted to Gundam. And I asked the person if they had any metal build, and they did not. He said the metal build would be at the Tamashii Nations store, which was next door. I went over next door to the Tamashii Nations. I actually filmed just walking around the stores. I never published the films because I didn't think they looked that great. They didn't have metal build over there. In fact, I couldn't find any high-end Gundam figures. So they had an entire store, a good-sized store devoted to Gundam figures, just the figures, and not a single high-end one that I saw. And like the fixed figurations and other ones, I can't think of some of the other names, but it was mostly models, vast majority models. So I'm going to have to assume that models are very popular in Japan. So we're going to go kind of through the articulation here for the figure. It's going to, when I show it, it's probably going to look like there's a lot more metal than there actually is, but that doesn't mean it is a cheap or light figure. So actually, we'll do a little tail of the tape here. So I have my scale, and we'll put him on the scale. He is not, I don't have everything attached, but this particular Gundam figure, this metal build one, does not come with a ton of stuff. So it weighs in at not even a pound, 11.2 ounces. So it's kind of light, a little bit light. This piece here, this cape, was a bit of work to get it attached, and I'm going to remove it just because it makes it easier to kind of maneuver around the figure. But I think that really is kind of necessary for the look of the figure. It's got wiring all in here. In fact, when you look at the figure here, it's all like blowing in the wind. So somebody did a lot of work, because the wiring goes through here, around here, and so you can make it look all neat like that. So I might put a little bit of work in. So basically what you kind of have to do, there's the shoulders. This one, so now it's showing it all. You have to kind of open it up. Okay. And then it will clip on right to this kind of like gold piece in here. That's where it clips on. All right. So it's got kind of the normal articulation. What really has this one stand apart is kind of these look like pistons inside here. These are all plastic. Okay. A lot of this stuff, like the joints here, they may look metal, but they are plastic, which is why the figure is only 11.2 ounces and not heavier. So they're kind of, let me show real quick. We could bend them over. So they're kind of wobbly in here. They're not working. They don't work at all. Which is, I mean, it's just cosmetic. It's just meant to look. I'm sure if you did all these metal, it would be very, very expensive with all the detailing in here. And this is all plastic down here. Now clearly with the weight, because there is weight, you could feel the weight. Must be metal inside here, because it is not a light plastic toy. And I don't remember now what I paid for it. I believe I got this one from Kappa Hobby. Getting all losing focus. So we can, okay, up here too, it's got kind of the pistons in the shoulders, which are all plastic. And what's kind of weird is, and I'm not sure why they did this, and I don't think I have a broken figure. So the head leans real far forward, and then this piece in here is just kind of wobbly in here. Just kind of wobbles around. So again, I don't think it's broken. I think that's just the way it is. And then I have to be kind of careful because it's got these two pieces in here that when I have the head forward, they kind of butts up against his backpack. So got to kind of tuck those in. And the pack, it's got some movement here, and this will open up. I'll do this side. They both do the same thing, but they open up. I'm not sure why. I don't know what anime this is from. I have a ton of Gundam anime, but I also don't have a ton. There is so much Gundam that, and a lot of them are very expensive. You're talking $60, $70, $80 for like half season. And I do some kind of bargain shopping. So this will go in here. He's got these swords also. Okay, and I think you have your choice. You can either put because there's a piece I'm going to show in just a second that you use to kind of hold this on that is removable. So I'm going to pull this off. I'm probably going to put this guy on a stand. I'll show why in just a moment. So this folds out, and then this piece is removable. And so I believe, I didn't do it, but I believe you could swap it out and somehow attach the swords, although I'm not really sure how. But like I said, I think it's one or the other. You got other hands, so these hands here, they're not grabbing hands, but there's hands that will grab this. So apparently this is like a huge bladed weapon that he can use and then store on his back, in his kind of backpack thing. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty neat. It's definitely not my favorite of my metal build figures. I probably have at this point a dozen of the metal build figures. I guess it's a little, it just, I don't know, kind of like the wobbly pieces in here. Not really wobbly, but I mean, I don't know what it would cost if these actually like worked somewhat like a piston, and that the rods would go into it, but it does not do that. And so you know, even though I said, you know, there's plastic in here, the joints have the stiffness of metal. So that doesn't feel like metal either, but there must be metal in here because those are not plastic joints. They have the stiffness of metal. All of this does. It's an interesting look. I've never seen another Gundam figure where you see it kind of like, I mean, it's just this kind of like metal spine in here, and there's no real midsection because it's just this. This is probably metal. Well, even this doesn't feel like, maybe it is. I'm not sure. I could do the tongue test, but I'm not going to do that on here. I don't really do that anyway. It's kind of weird. It's not that big a deal. I probably will pose this guy on the stand. I'm starting to do that more and more because I think it would be more dramatic if it was in some kind of a movement pose. So we also have this mace, and this, I guess maybe this is the plus Boomerang mace. I don't know if he uses it as a boomerang. Okay, that's a little... Oh, there, okay. All right, and so that's one of the things is in the stand, you can have, this will be held up by a piece, and so you can make it kind of dramatic. And of course, we have all sorts of replacement hands. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of replacement hands for doing different things. And we have which I will not be able to get into the full frame, but we have the box there. And it kind of shows how you can get the thing all set up on the stand. So in this case, he's, I guess, maybe throwing the boomerang? Or maybe that's the boomerang mace. I mean, this kind of looks like a mace, but this thing, more like a boomerang. All right. I guess that's probably the boomerang. So we have the instructions here, and he looks pretty cool. He's got all his stuff on there, and you could see that he's got the boomerang mace. I'm going to guess this is the boomerang mace, but not the sword, so I think it's one or the other. And it goes through and shows all the different articulation, and then it's always got warnings, warning delicate, warning sharp. This is one of the Gundams that I'll say probably you're going to need to be very careful with this one, because it could definitely break something on it. So this shows how you attach these two pieces on the cape, and then how you open these pieces up to attach the cape into the shoulder, which I think looks pretty cool. And then how you, I didn't quite figure out how these were supposed to work with this piece here, but warning may rub off, choose and attach. So yeah, I think you choose. You either do the boomerang mace or the swords. And so here's one posed, warning fall, warning tumble. So there's a lot of different pieces that go with the stand, because that way you could pose him in some very interesting dramatic poses. So that is yet another metal build figure from, I don't think I have any in the queue to be coming on their way. So this is the last one I have currently. I'm sure they'll announce more in the future. So anyway, this is Gundam Barbatos, 4th form plus Boomerang Mace from Bandai Namco.